Hey, Tanner MacIver here, helping you be more intentional with alcohol. And today I want to talk about that Friday at 5 feeling. That feeling when you slam your laptop closed, you look at your boys and you say, should we go out? Should we grab a drink? Should we get a cocktail? What are we doing? It's almost habitual. It's almost instinctual, right? We slam the laptop and we think, let's grab a drink. So today I want to talk about why is that? What's actually going on in our brain? And then things we can do to maybe snap out of that cycle. So let's start with the why. Why does that happen? So there's two sides of our brains. We have the emotional side, and then we have the logical side. So for our logical thinking, that is the conscious thought, right? We assess, we realize, we answer. The emotional side is reactive. So think you're driving down the highway, all of a sudden someone's about to pull into you, you quickly swerve out of the way before you even realize the guy pulled in. That's your emotional brain. The good news for our safety, the emotional brain is faster than the logical brain. The bad news for our habits is a lot of the time we don't even get to use our logical brain. We just immediately go to the emotion, the reactive side. And to make matters even worse, when the emotion side triggers, a lot of the times it actually shuts off the logic side. So not only are we using the emotion, we're not even, literally the logic is shut off, which is crazy to think about. So why does this matter? It matters because neural pathways are constantly being formed and then triggered. So I want you to think of a neural pathway as a path through the woods. The more you go on the path, the deeper it becomes. So Friday at 5, you actually have a lot of options, right? You could grab a drink, you could work out, you could go to a show, you could get out of town. Let's say you work out every 2 or 3 weeks on a Friday. So maybe that pathway in the woods is fairly good. It's up to your knees. It's pretty trenched. Maybe you go to a show every quarter. Well, that's not too deep. Maybe that's up to your ankles. But the drinking, well, you've been drinking on a Friday since you can remember, right? Since college and then out of college. So that's a deep pathway. Maybe that path is all the way up to your head because you've just worn it down so many times. When we get to that level, it's really hard to do anything else, right? It's the deepest path. We have done it forever. It's a neural pathway that has been established in the woods. So what do? When that moment arrives, it's Friday at 5, we go to that emotion. We go down that path. We go to get a drink. And we don't even think about it. All right, so doomsday, right? That path is very entrenched. How the heck can we get over this? So the core of getting over it is getting down to the very specific belief and reason why you're drinking. All right, so typically there is a negative thought, there's a false belief that kind of leads us towards drinking. It leads us to coping, which in a lot of senses is drinking. So for me, that was, alcohol helps me unwind and de-stress. Some people it might be it helps me connect with others. Whatever it is, get down to that core belief. Once you get to that, you can do two things. So the first thing is the harder thing. Start looking, let's use my example. Mine is de-stress. Start looking throughout the day of things that start kind of increasing my stress, right? So I started realizing maybe I'm getting yelled at for not doing something on slide 10. Maybe other people are off at lunch and I had to sit at my desk. My stress levels were slowly increasing. And as a result, by the end of the day, it's the straw that broke the camel's back. Grab me a drink. So what we can do is in the moment, start sitting with that. Start realizing, okay, this is the stress that's building. My emotion brain is going to take over, but right now I have my logic thinking. So sit with it. It's uncomfortable. Get used to it. Get over it in a coping way. Before the straw breaks the camel's back, you start drinking. So that's number one. That's hard. That takes time. The second thing we can do is plan ahead. So we know that is an entrenched path. That's a neural pathway that we go on. So let's come up with a new one. Let's come up with one that's exciting to us. Maybe that's getting out of town. Maybe that's working out. Maybe that's going out to a dinner without drinks, right? Come up with a plan before Friday at 5 when the emotion takes over. So if we do those two things, if we can get to the root cause and then come up with a plan and start finding those microaggressions throughout the day, micro stressors, and really work with those, we're going to start developing a new path through the woods. And that path's going to be a healthier path. It's going to be a more intentional path. I'd love to know what you guys think about this. Jot your comments below.